Yo, what's up everyone, welcome to the video. Today we got Stompn's Pro League debut game. I've edited out all the downtime and stuff like that, so if you miss this game live, this video is perfect for you. I'm going to be posting a lot of Stompn's Pro League highlights on this channel, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out.
Underway.
For me, I was really curious about for G2 who was going to be their IGL now as well, because as we've probably heard historically, was Uno took over those IGL responsibilities from Alamau. Alamau wanted to focus on playing his game, being able to be a fragger essentially. And I asked Oki earlier today, who's the IGL now? Then he's like, oh, Alamau again. I just laughed at him and said, he's never getting away from that responsibility, is it? It's going to stick to him like a bad smell. There is very little they can do about it, but he is back in as their IGL. And let's see if he can take his team through to victory. We'll start things off on the attacking side. They're facing up against a pretty dug-in composition as well. I'm looking at all the stall available to G2 here with the clash. I'm sure Doki's going to have some real hijinks up his sleeve to employ in this round, but I'm looking in towards the smoke, in towards the goo mines, in towards the Vulcan canisters, in towards C4s. There's a lot to slow walls down here. So first and foremost, they've got to play the mini game of Siege and work their way through all this utility.
I'm going to give a shout to Krex as well, of course, because it might be the most unfortunate game to make your debut in of all time for Krex. Coming in on the same day, the same game that Stompn makes his debut as well.
Yeah.
So we will make sure that we keep an eye on Krex and give him every bit as much spotlight that he deserves. But yeah, he's going to obviously have to try and fit into that Wolves side as well. You know, three players there, particularly we've spoken about. It's you know, Leader, Noodle, Tyrant, who have really sort of come through together from the UK scene. So we'll see how well it all gels. But we're halfway through the first round, attacking up onto that top floor, and for the time being, G2 are dug in pretty nicely.
Trying to get rid of that bulletproof, not getting it the second time around there. Crack's first day bouncing off the wall, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure. But manages to get rid of it now. Still being stalled out for a moment, but now that we're starting to see a lot of that utility being chewed through, he felt that one go past his ear, Tim. All that utility now chewed through, they should be able to start getting a bit of a march on. Has got the right idea, sees his man, they know what's going on. But I've got to start thinking about what this execute looks like. Noodle is the one to keep an eye on, as well as Imhop's here behind Krex. He's the one trying to get an opening going to start a march on fours, do what he can try. Not that it matters, as Doki has fallen down first elsewhere. Not the great spot to be in, as that's the clash offline.
As is going to find Lyra as well. 5 versus 3 now. Wolves with a reasonable advantage. G2 did manage to clear off those X-Kairos pellets that would have opened up onto Masked Wall, but other than that, it's pretty much all been going in the direction of Wolves. But Blaz does manage to find Tyrant. However, the trade game is good, and Leader picks up Alamau as they're onto Stompn, and this is going one way at the minute. Blaz manages to get one as he peeks out, but it was straight into a crossfire. And that's going to be the first round going to Wolves.
What I loved about Wolves and their approach to the round was a very slow, methodical approach to it. Didn't really need to charge their way forward. Admittedly, coming up against all the utility they did meant they had to do something about it, but it was quite composed overall. It wasn't frantic. No major mistakes made by the team on their push forward either as well. Just really smart, structured play. They've had a brilliant round there. Now we go down to the second floor. G2 still looking for that first round.
Reasonably straightforward, and that's a big should, but it should be reasonably straightforward for G2 to deny that from above. They've got Stompn up there with the big old SAS shotgun. There should be plenty of holes opened up onto all those default spots. Wolves really do need to disrupt this top floor.
I think they get one kill though, and it could lead into some more very, very quickly. Oh, they almost caught him out. They had the yellow ping. They knew where he was. Not quite managed to get away with it though, but a nade from Noodle finds Alamau. Lyra getting one back on the other side. The hard breacher though has already done his job. Not a huge loss here to lose Tyrant. 4v4.
Lyra, of course, we saw in that 1v1 back at Reload using the big brain plays. He's going to come out with another big brain plays. He takes the swing onto Krex. There's Stompn's first kill for G2. Takes down Noodle, and that gives G2 a much better footing inside of this round. 4 versus 2, and with strong top floor control without going up there and getting those kills, which I think is what Wolves need to do now. They need to chase down those players. They've got 50 seconds. They get one of them as onto Lyra, but that was the player inside of sight. The rest of G2 are upstairs and defending vertically. Wolves need to identify that and do something about it. There's no way they get away with a plant here.
You say that, Tim. They've got the ability to isolate out certain lines of sight, making use of the stems. Leaders in, and it was Azra Leader who went nuclear last time, but no. Sprayed down, is pushed forward into the smoke he goes, but has got to recover that diffuser. I don't think he'll be able to get his teammate up either as well. It's looking a little bit ropey here. No way they get away with it. And sure enough, there's Doki to get the close out at the end of the round. G2 on the board.
Yeah, much better from G2. I just think Wolves maybe had the wrong game plan, as I say, for attacking that site. They did put a little bit...
Many have been maybe a little bit more disappointing than you come to expect. And I think it'll be probably a couple of weeks until you see teams really find those power spots where Clash can be most effective.
Nacho going to be sent
Great
out,
C4.
going to find it's marked. Lyra taking down Krex for the second round in a row. 5 versus 4, making maximum use of that utility and looking for more as well. Getting aggressive up onto that door. He's pushed back by the drone that comes in, spots him out. That leaves us now 5 versus 4 and absolutely no answer from Wolves on that opening kill. And even less of an answer as Lyra manages to find leader. He's going to get another. Let's make it 3. Takes down Noodle. Lyra looking unstoppable.
He's making it look easy, isn't he, this last couple of rounds? Absolutely frying through members of Wolves. There's going to be a lot for them to try and recover here. Stompn will fall down to Tyrant, but it's a big comeback to achieve, especially against the lineup and the remaining operators on this side. A self-flash certainly not going to help. Now, Azza may have had a solid round 1, but round 2 couldn't find an impact. And I think round 3 is going to go exactly the same way, Tim.
Just seeing if he can get anything going here. Takes a little bit of damage off of Blaz, but Azza, his days were certainly numbered. Lyra makes it 4. Lyra makes it 1. Lyra, Wolves 0.
And that is a lot of time that you start costing your team. So I like our Noodles realize, okay, then this ain't gonna be an easy walk. I'm just getting out of here. I don't need to stay around for this anymore. You can't easily get rid of the mirror because it's the bandit playing on it as well. So very aggressive from Doki, but it's doing a lot for his team here. And Laura is going to be the first one going down. Krex yet again the entry on this Finker, starting the march forward from Ops for his team.
A little bit too easy there for Wolves after Lyra had a fantastic round last time out. He just had no intel into Ops and had no idea that Krex was as close up to that double door as he was. And really just playing a little bit aggressively there and giving them the opportunity to take the swing. Doki is still convinced that there's somebody out there just that's going to be pushing onto Mask Wall. For the time being, there isn't, but whether Wolves now choose to rotate somebody back into that position or not, we will see. But it looks like it might actually just be move across Skybridge and try to come in through R6 room instead.
This is the last rotation they can make use of in the round, really. They haven't got time to get set up for another one. So but the positions they're in now are the ones they're going to have to play. Last 35 seconds or so, a couple of players have swapped spots on the map, and now they're going to start their push on forwards. The problem is, they've only got rid of the one player. Like, it's still good, but it's not the end of the world for G2 here. They've got the ability to play out with a couple of C4s to stall things away here. Stompn under a bit of pressure. 2 players starting to press him around him here, but he's looked away at the wrong time. A real siege-timing moment has bit him in the backside there, and Wolves can start their march towards victory.
Blasters managed to pick up 1. Can G2 hold on? It's up to Doki and Alamau. Doki manages to find Noodle. Diffuser is down and cold. Wolves have no choice but to just go for the kills here. Alamau finds another, and you'd have to back G2 at this point. Playing it smart, dipping away, not taking the fights, getting the round. Alamau, Doki, 2 of the most experienced players that we've got at this level, and they show every ounce of that, knowing when they don't need to take those fights, when they can let the clock do the work for them. But it just wasn't enough. They didn't have enough time in the end.
I think they left themselves too little time, like you say, Tim, really leaving it down to the last, like, 35 seconds or so before you complete your rotations to then start and execute. I get it, you kind of realise you're in a suboptimal position, but you're in a 5 versus 4 at that stage.
Floor haven't really done anything to disrupt those defenders that are up there. They may have to take on this plant again without that vertical control. Tyrant does manage to pick up Blaz. That's a big one for them. It gives them access to site. So now the question is, verticality versus going for a plant. Who's going to win?
He's got himself going with the light screens going down. Last time when this pushing towards the door, he did die. And very cleverly here, impacting out those parts of the light wall so they can still see what's going on. But they're layering him down at this point. And here we go. He's in and planting. And there's not a lot that G2 can do without dropping on down. They're going to have to go aggressive, Tim, but they haven't got the time to do it. Leader's going to get the chance to stick this. It's a 4 versus 3.
Yeah, much better this time from Wolves. Able to position that light screen a lot better and get in behind it. That was the real key factor that they couldn't do last time. And they also had people, as I'd suggested, keeping those top floor players busy. There were gun battles going on. There were challenges happening at the time where he moved in for the plant. So G2 couldn't focus downwards. What a beautiful shot from Lyra, but probably too little too late. 2 versus 3, 15 seconds left to go. Lyra manages to find another. Lyra's going to get straight on the diffuser as well, going for the long arm, but no. Noodle comes in and takes him down. Doki finds 1, but there's not enough time. It's over as Noodle steps around the corner and gets a kill. That's going to be Wolves finding their second round, but it's still 3-2 G2.
Being shown by Leader. And patience is probably the word that I'd use to describe Wolves so far, Tim. They have been so methodical and slow, not letting G2 get away with any hijinks or crazy antics. Just kind of forced into play to a very slow standard. And Wolves so far are looking very, very composed in that situation. Hey, it's been down to Loira as a big reason why they've won a couple of these rounds.
Yeah, fully agree. The Wolves coming away, going on to the defense with an advantage would be a wonderful thing. Krex and Tyrant managed to take down Loira and Stompn. Pressure from above, but if we look now, 2 of G2's players are outside of sight on a different floor, and they are going to drop. It's all up to Blaz playing from above. 5 versus 1, almost certain that Wolves are going to come away with a nice even split half. 3-3 here. Final kill comes in, and that is going to be that. Wolves 3-3 moving on to defense.
The entry for his team, often pushing him from ops. And even he was getting into positions where he thought he might be able to get away with something, and then G2 would just slam the door in his face. Krex, speaking of, almost getting the shot in the back there by Alamau, who's ready with a C4, but he's been shot at range there. He's had 2 or 3 G2 players all bearing down on him. There was no way he was getting out of that alive.
Yeah, absolutely targeted by G2 then. They knew that the opportunity was there, and that's an important lesson, not just for Krex, but for any rookies coming into this level of plays that, you know, you will get picked up on. If you're in a position without support, teams will swarm you, and they'll make sure that they get that kill secured. There's a second one as Stompn manages to take down Noodle. Had a little bit of intel, I think, knew he was coming, but was ready for the peek and took him down. Good start for G2, 5 versus 3.
At least gives them the numbers advantage is the key thing, right? By quite a way now. 5 versus 3. You don't really see teams at this level with this much time left giving these kind of rounds away unless you see someone just pop off on the side of Wolves. But now Leader's gone down as Stompn finds a 2K in the round. I know his fans have been waiting for that one. Could yet make it into a third as well as Tyrant's down to a slither of HP. Still find at least Azra up on nearly full HP here. But Stompn makes it a 3K in round 7. G2 pull ahead once more.
I'm not sure about the side choice from Wolves there. Coming into...
It is a bizarre choice, yeah.
Yeah, coming into the second half, I backed Wolves a little bit, and I said the way they play in, I could see them, you know, possibly taking a win here. Still, you know, they still could do that, but I think... You know, I said maybe you take top floor, you take basement, you get them 2-1, and then just, you know, however the sort of cookie crumbles on the mid floor, you just see what happens. And they've come in straight away and took that mid floor. And I'm kind of like, you've put yourself on the back foot a little bit. You know, it's a tough site to maybe it's basement they're trying to
middle
avoid
floor,
them.
to be fair, Bunks and Briefing is not far off top floor. It's 57%. So those 2 sites are very defender favoured, at least how the stats are set up.
Yeah, it surprises me a little bit. I think, you know, there's so many options with Bunks and Briefing, but Doki is going to take down Krex. That second round in a row that he will find himself as the opening death. Loira on the Deimos as well, just putting the track onto Azza, and with so much verticality possible here, it's almost a standard, a given that you will have a Deimos playing underneath if you don't ban them out, and that's going to be a bit of pressure that Wolves will start feeling. Mountain, Alamau on the Monte. Continues the march towards site for G2.
Does he know there's someone tucked in hard left? I'm not sure he does. No, they might rely on the Lion scan here to make this happen. He might pay the price for it, but they see him coming in at the same time that he's getting a challenge in. Alamau's getting a plant down. C4 up over the top. Stompn dodges it away, but that plant should get finished. Yes, it does. Even with Alamau and Halen smoke, they've managed to make it happen, Tim. 5 versus 4, 5 versus 3 as the kills start flying on through. G2 should be the ones coming out on top here as only 2 remain.
That was really important work from Stompn there, just occupying that player in ops, making it difficult for them to focus on what was going on inside. Tyrant, however, just manages to get a double. Let's focus in for a second here. 2 versus 2, but they do still have a clash on side that could be useful. You can plant that shield now. So you can plant the shield and then go for the disable of the diffuser. G2 need to keep the pressure on here. They will do. Stompn gets 1. Stompn gets 2. Closes out the round. And G2 find another attack. Wolves crumbling a little bit on the defense. This does not look like as good a performance as we saw out of them in the first half.
LDR, you can take away from all the things that he's just said there. But again, I think for both teams, the approach they've had on the attack has been really, really sensible. It's been very slow, very composed. and it's building up well. One thing I will remark on as well, by the way, this weekend over in SAL across the 10 games that we had, so far from being extremely powerful, but as Demo was kind of remarking on at the time, he was saying it's more site-specific. You will see Rara picked up. It won't be super often. Well, here we go. Loira in for a trade, has found himself 2 kills in the round as well, so taking a lot away from the side here. The smoke taken offline early on, the goo mines of the Legion gone, no more recharging. 2 massive kills to get for Loira.
Yeah, losing those 2 operators on the side of Wolves, G2, you know, they won't mind whatever the trade was for, absolutely fine. You're losing your Twitch, so long as you've, you know, there's no utility going to be left that they're overly worried about. The mirror windows, I guess, if they haven't been taken out, it'd be nice to have a Twitch drone to do that. But otherwise, you'll take the 2 kills that they've got. It's a great start for G2. 4-3, and you know, right, I cast the Cursed Wolf right after I said coming onto the defense. I like what they've been doing so far, the aggression they've been playing with, the gunfights they've been winning. You know, I'd say it again if you put me in the same position at 3-3. I'd say I think they're going to come out. But G2 have just absolutely woken up on the attack. They look like a different side here. They're doing fantastically well.
Stomping in with a kill for himself here, getting rid of Noodle. Only 2 left standing now, but the thing is, Tim, it's a 4 versus 2 where you've still got a shield on side. Ugh, horrible to play against. Alamau's in a very good position here where he can really start to exert pressure onto these final 2 Wolves defenders. They've not really got anything to stop him. A couple of impacts, sure. As another Rara goes down here, locking off yet another doorway from those defenders, just boxing them in here so they can make this plan happen.
You can see that it's Tyrant there, has Impact Nade in hand, so it's not the end of the world, able to go in and try and make a challenge, but he's firing onto
another one
a head that he just can't see behind that Monty shield. Plant going down, won't have time, kill comes in. There's going to be G2 taking another round. It's 6-3, and Wolves are just battered, bruised, and broken right now.
I've said a few times, Tim, it's hard to see how Wolves fight their way back through. I tell you what, getting rid of the best fragger in the lobby is not a bad way to start, though. Krex coming online here and removing Loira.
Krex has actually been the opening death for the last 3 rounds consecutively. So him coming out and getting that entry kill is going to be huge for him. You know, as much as we've spoke about Stompn's debut, it is Krex's debut to Tier 1 as well. There's going to be nerves there, and especially when you're taking that opening death, it's going to really feel like it's mounting up on you. You're not getting much game time. You sat watching cams for, you know, awfully big portions of the round. Getting himself that kill and getting himself the ability to stay in the round if he does so here. Yes, gets a second onto Doki. There we go. The confidence starts building.
I mean, Doki really can't be losing that one there. Like, you're playing on the Deimos as well. Like, come on, man. Krex, super well played, though. 2 huge kills to get this round cooking for them. Into another, makes it a 3rd for himself. He has been down by Alamar in response, but Stompn has got it all to do against 5. And as we were saying, Tim, that Wolves might not be able to get this done, they net a flawless round off the back of Krex, making a massive play.
Great stuff from Wolves. They need to channel that. I mean, Doki here, he had all the answers. He knew exactly where he was. He was pre-firing around the corner, but Krex just took that peek on into it and got the win. And yeah, it was a great round for Krex.
I kind of like Krex's approach to that gun.
It's more like it, but like you said, you know, Bunks and Briefing does still have a solid win rate for the defenders at the minute. Let's see if Wolves can do that and stretch this one to all 12 rounds at least. G2, they have got the opening kill, and I can tell you, in all but 2 rounds, the round winner has been the one to get the opening kill, so it does give G2 a big edge here. Blaz took a lot of damage along the way, but still, 5 versus 4. E1D scans still online for now, with those Dokkaebi calls possibly as well. G2 certainly got a lot of tools at their disposal. Loira starting to peek on into sight.
It's got a great angle here as well. All it's going to take is Leader to step across, and it's a freebie, but no, the call puts him off and keeps himself in safety as he steps back to remove that call. Also having the ringing coming in from the Lion. They're just begging him to move at this point, but it's not happening, and Krex has got a little play fort set up here on the stairs, Tim. Ready for someone to come challenging, but now he's going to go hunting. Doesn't want to sit still for all that long. Not having anyone to sniff onto just yet. Now Leader's gone down again, this drone play. A kill with a soft breach? Only Stompn.
Okay, I'll look forward to checking that one out afterwards and see exactly how that happened.
He got down from above because it has
saw
gone
the
to Stompn's
gunshots
KD.
coming in. Yeah, good stuff from Stompn. Loira manages to take down Krex. 5 versus 2. It looks like G2 are cruising towards the win here at 6-4. Loira straight into sight now as the opportunity and the space is available. Starts putting the defuse down. Actually comes off it, and we'll have to start the process again as Doki managed to find himself a kill. But Noodle is up on the top floor. He knows he's likely to be challenged soon, but
They want the KD.
The keeper barricades kind of working against him. Manages to get one, but that's going to be all as G2 lock it out and take their first win in EML.